So it was me and Charmander, and we just figured out to turn ourselves off of mute so that we could say, "Oh, it was me and Charmander." And you know what? I'm just gonna let Charmander say this one. Oh, Charmander, Charmander, Bret. Charmander Char. And then I think just to translate Fish, I think he said, "Do you know what we did next?"
Don't worry, I can speak Charmander. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
I can't actually talk to any of the other Pokemon. It's Charmander and Solosis. Those are the two Pokemon that I can communicate with. I haven't learned. Like I'm still trying to get into learning Charizard on my Duolingo app. It's actually like it's a bit too dissimilar to Charmander. There's actually some like really nuanced differences there that make it like really hard to
Okay.
understand what the Charizard is
Okay.
saying. Yeah, it's rough, but yeah. I would like to be able to communicate with all branches of the Charmander family.
Well, that's very nice of you there to try and speak the language, as it were.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I try to speak some Charmander too, but whenever I do, he just slaps me and tells me not to be patronizing, and I'm like, I'm so sorry.
that
Uh,
is such a Charmander thing to do.
yeah, it definitely is. And then I threaten to spray him with the hose, and we go our separate ways. And after that, we hug it out, as good friends normally do.
You know that could kill him.
I mean, what's a little homicide between friends? Welcome, one and all, to Pokemon After Darkrai. This is a no holds barred, no nothing podcast. Where we talk about Pokemon and hurt the ones we love, and baby, we love everyone. My name's Bret. That voice you heard, that exquisite, absolutely stunningly handsome voice you heard, is one Fish upon a heater. Fish, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Move in because complete. Folks listening to the show these past several weeks know like how insane my life has been, and the move is complete. There's still stuff to be put away, but I got my green screen in the back now. Happy Pride Month, everybody! And life is continuing on down the long march towards the grave as, as it does. I'm
It
finally
does.
to
It
the
matches.
Yeah, I'm finally to that point where um, waking up, no matter what, is just impossibly painful. No matter what you do, like, oh, ow, my knee one morning, then the next morning, oh, my hip. Um, the nurse comes in and changes my fluids, and off to the cafeteria for yogurt and shuffleboard. But
I thought you like I didn't realize you meant physically painful. I thought you were at the stage of like, well, just waking up is just too much for my emotions to handle.
sometimes, I mean, let's be real. I think a lot of people can relate to that. But once you get to my advanced age, it's just the bones creak and the ligaments aren't as quite as spry as they once
Mm.
were, and you just gotta look at the ceiling and then cover yourself with the blankets again, and then cry for an extra 15 minutes before you get back up.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. Just a little 15-minute cry, and you're good to go. Get to
Yeah,
take on the world.
absolutely. You're good. You're good to scream, to ball up a fist and shake it at God once again.
That's right.
Oh man, but this is a
Pokemon.
Pokemon show, baby. What's been new with you, Fish? We haven't talked to you in a couple months.
Yeah, for what is a third or fourth appearance on the show?
Oh my
Do you
goodness,
reckon?
it's probably been more than that, hasn't it?
I don't think so. I think you don't invite me around enough.
Well, I mean, we have an open door policy with you, Fish. Anytime you want to come on, you're always welcome.
So it's my decision now. I'll just say like, hey, numbnuts, I'm
Yeah,
coming on the
come
podcast
on.
this week.
Yeah,
All right. I'll take note of that. But from a Pokemon standpoint, I have now that the latest move update has happened in PvP, it's now full steam ahead in starting to get prepared for Worlds in August.
Yeah. Yeah, how's that going?
Slow so far.
Slow.
So when I say full steam ahead, that's really just a turn of phrase. I have barely looked at it, but I'm meant to be full steam ahead.
Right. I get it, man. For sure. You're definitely more proactive than I am in regards to PvP. I leave that hard work to people like you and Gracie. I'm just like, catch some shit, pretend like I'm funny, hit publish on the podcast with normal modus operandi.
I will say you are a funny guy. I appreciate your humor.
Shucks. All right, we're not here to kiss my ass. We're here to rub your feet and tell you a lullaby and lay your sweet head down to bed, dear listener. Half the time I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I always feel like when you're not sure when you start a sentence, you're not exactly sure where it's going to end up.
That's pretty accurate, honestly. I mean, I feel like most things that I do end up turning into some sort of therapy session. Like I'm laying on a couch and just a person on the chair on the other end of the room with like chewing on an eraser, looking at their notes, going, and tell me how you hide that trauma with laughter.
Yeah.
With laughter. So nothing new in regards to like Pogo for me. I'm still playing, like picking up playing again. I got my Master Ball. Not encountered a Galarian bird to use it on or anything like that. But no new shinies or anything to speak of. So nothing new on the game front for me, per se. So. But which
makes for an excellent Pokemon Go podcast.
I know. Hey guys, welcome to the show. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, last week was literally nothing.
But
gotta catch 'em all.
There's some stuff coming here. Palo-Sand and Sandy Gas come out. What day is it right now? It is
for me.
Well, no. We know that over there in Australia, you live in the future somehow through some weird time portal. I mean,
it's November for me.
So when this comes out, this podcast come out, Palo-Sand and Sandy Gas are in the game.
Okay. So everyone I've talked to about those two Pokemon love the shit out of them. I don't get it.
They're chef's kiss delicious.
Oh, really?
You gotta okay. I invite you to go listen to the Palo-Sand Sandy Gas episode that me and Gracie put out, I don't know, like a month and a half ago. It's so funny, and you really like the more we read about that Pokemon, the more we just absolutely love it. It's because it's wild. It's got like that big hole in its mouth, and like it's one of those really weird. Every generation there's like at least one Pokemon that's like super dark and fucked up, and it's Palo-Sand and Sandy Gas. It's like it sucks your life force. Like if you're like digging around in the sand and you accidentally put your hand near its mouth, it sucks your life force out. Then it absorbs your bones, and then it shoots your bones back out like a cannon to ward off like enemies. Like
that's the real Bone Club.
Just weird shit, Drifloon might take kids off into the afterlife and hates fat kids. Palo-Sand just eats them.
Do you remember what the episode's called? Because I haven't listened to it.
Oh man,
I will definitely do that.
It's not necessary, but let's see. Well, since they're coming out in the game, it's called it's from a month ago, and it's called Palo-Sand and Bone Show.
I probably could have figured that out myself.
Brett and Gracie, get our bones sucked out and sand all in our cracks. The description, the very excellent description. But yeah, there's so apparently, I guess, are they rainy lure Pokemon? Is that what they are?
Nah, they so I don't think any of the lures cover ground or ghost.
Okay, let me see. Oh, it's just a rainy hour. Excuse me, rainy lures will last 2 hours throughout the event when they're released. That's what it is.
Cool.
So you'll see Tentacruel, Shelter, Krabby, Alolan, Executor, Horsey, Staryu, Marill, Mantine, Wingull, Whalmer, Spheal, Finneon, Dwebble, Frillish, Clauncher, and Poplio. A little bit more. There's some raids here too. You gonna do any raids next or well, I guess today when it comes out?
It's give me the raid list.
At 1 star we have Alolan Diglett, Hisuian Quillfish, Carvana, Phoebos, Sandygast. 3 star we got Blastoise, Gyarados, Lapras, Alomalomalomola. And 5 stars we have Uxie in Asia Pacific, Mesprit in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and India, and in the Americas and Greenland we have Azelf, and then it's Mega Swampert is the last one.
No.
I'm down for, I think Uxie's the one I'm missing. So if any Asia Pacific friends want to invite me to an Uxie raid, I'd do that.
If only I knew anyone Asia Pacific.
I know, right? What the hell is Australia considered? Would that be Pacific?
Yeah, it's Asia Pacific.
Okay,
It's not Asia. Definitely Pacific though.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Asia, so my geography's not that bad. There's also a global challenge. So make 300 million nice throws while trying to catch Pokemon, and you'll get increased XL candy for catching Pokemon. So
yeah, so as of this recording, that has already been completed.
Oh, well then fuck me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it had already started, so that shows you how much I know.
Yeah, and it was they just tore through that one real quick.
Yeah,
so
I
now bonus candy XL, but you've got to make good throws for it.
Yeah. Spotlight Hour, Krabby, Kabuto, Corfish, Clauncher, and Crabrawler, which by the time this comes out, at least one of those will be done already. Probably Krabby, I mean, if they're going in that order. I need to get on that Krabby one. I'd like to get me a Shanny.
Isn't that the one where it's like 5 Pokemon for a Spotlight Hour?
Oh, is it? I thought I was reading that as like that was the Spotlight Hour for the month.
I believe that is all in week 1.
Oh,
which is
I think you're right. Oh, shit.
A novel way of doing it.
That was 3 hours ago. Fuck. Damn it.
Well, outplayed.
Well, missed Krabby. God damn it. This is and here comes the old bones back into effect because I was definitely probably asleep during that time. Taking an old man nap, as you do, as one does.
Yeah. So you really wanted that Krabby shiny?
Yeah, yep, I did. No longer.
Yeah, no. And they actually announced that they were deleting the shiny Krabby from the game after this Spotlight Hour too. So
you know what? That figures. Kind of like Shiny Aaron. They're like Spotlight Hour, never again after that.
They just got rid of it.
I did see where that they announced Axu is coming.
I'm
excited
for that.
Me too.
That's one of those rare ones that crosses over between battlers and non-battlers.
Yeah, I also it's one of every single year. It's like, oh, my shiny Axu I got is now devalued because they're having a community day, and we knew this was gonna happen, people.
Yeah.
They do it every next year will be Gumi probably, right?
Yeah, probably. Or Jangmo.
Jangmo, yeah, actually I'd prefer Jangmo honestly, but no, I think it would be Gumi. Jangmo is Gen 8, I think.
And what's Gumi? Oh, that's still Gen 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely Gumi.
Something like that. So yeah, I think
what's Gen 7 then?
I don't know. Let's see. This is the fun the fun part of the show.
Yeah.
Where Brett just Googles shit.
Fish and Brett just scroll through stuff.
Gen 7 is Jangmo.
Ah, okay.
That's
So
right.
then
Gen
what's Gen
8, Gen
8?
8 is Galar.
Mm,
So it'd
yes.
be
So
yeah,
what's the pseudo legendary there? Or maybe it's
Gumi
not even
is
in the game
Gen.
yet.
It's probably not. Um, oh, it's oh damn it! What the hell is that thing called? It's the one that looks like a stealth bomber on its head and it shoots its babies. Dragapult.
Ah, right. I have heard the name, but I don't know any Pokemon outside of Pogo.
Pogo. Yeah, Gracie's the same way. Yeah, it's Dragapult, and I think the little baby version is called Dreepy,
Hmm.
and it's Ghost Dragon. So
Ghost Dragon. Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, it's actually really sweet design. Like the fully evolved version of Dragapult, like its head looks like a B2 stealth bomber, and then it's got two little cannons on either side where it shoots baby Dreepies out like little missiles.
I'm
It
Googling now.
makes perfect sense. Now this is the part of the
Yeah,
show
that's pretty baller.
where Fish Googles.
You need a musical sting for this.
Google minute. I know.
Googling. Yeah, that's pretty baller. What about the shiny though?
Good question. Not sure. I never got
Uh,
one.
looks pretty darn similar. The
No. It's like yellow instead of red on the head.
Yeah, but then like the rest of the body is pretty much the same.
I think that yellow is pretty noticeable though.
Yeah. So it's not like Gengar levels of similarity, but
Yeah, or Pikachu for that matter.
yeah,
It's okay. Yeah, it's
it's
literally
okay.
it's the same for Dreepy too. Like the greenish blue is like definitely way more blue, and then the
Mm,
red accent on the head is yellow as well.
it's yellow, yeah. So like you can tell it's kind of like a what is it like Clefairy Clefable, where you can only tell by the tips of the ears.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be a good one. But yeah, it's definitely not in the game yet.
Yeah.
So definitely Gumi next year, and then the year after that would be Jangmo-O. So that means we'll probably get Dreepy here at some point, either later this year or next, like just in the game
You reckon it's
a-
coming
as a rare spawn.
as early as this year?
Yeah, Jangmo-O is like what? By the time we get to a Jangmo-O
Mm.
Community Day, it'll have been in the game for over 2 years, right?
Yeah, wow.
Because I had one last year.
I feel like Pokemon Go seems to exist in all moments of time at once. It's like you can never tell whether it's been around for eternity or not that long at all.
I caught my Jangmo on March 9th, 2022.
Okay. So
So,
just over a year ago.
yeah. So by the time we get to the community day for that, it will have been like super old by then. Gumi, for reference, my oldest Gumi is um, April 4th, 2021. So yeah, I think we'll get Dreepy this year. It'll be one of those
Okay.
ones where it's like only 10K eggs and you'll never get one in a million years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be one
The
of the
12Ks even.
Yeah, it'll be one of those where it'll just be impossible to get. Then we'll get it in, after about a year, we'll get it in a GoFest as like, the little dragon type that because they did the same thing for Gibble, they did the same thing
Yeah. Yeah.
for oh man, what's that one called? That's going to drive me crazy. Why am I not remembering Pokemon? Is this part of my advanced age?
I was thinking of La Vesta before, like how they've locked that behind uh an infinitesimally small hatch odd.
I was thinking of Dino, is what I was trying to think of.
Yes, right.
So,
That as well is another Pokemon.
Larvesta is so incredibly popular. Like, I would not be shocked if, again, we go through the year, maybe 2 year cycle, and then get a community day for it. Like, it's gonna happen at some point.
Yeah,
so.
probably. And I've often wondered about people talk about like the life cycle of Pokemon Go, and I think it's a lot of it is attached to how the rate that they release Pokemon and then their shinies. Because like, as much as I'm all about the PvP, I acknowledge that we are the minority, and the vast majority of the people are just looking for the shinies.
Mm-hmm.
So like, once they run out of shinies, like how much longer can the game last?
I think it's definitely going to be an issue, but not for another 5 or 6 years. I think, because there's still a ton of Pokemon that aren't in the game, and they're going to keep drip feeding those to us. Likewise,
It's like an IV.
Yeah, they'll shiny lock a whole bunch of those for a while. And especially like the popular ones, like the Larvestas and stuff. We're not going to see a shiny one of that for. I mean, is there a shiny Larvesta in the game? I don't think so. I think it's just regular.
In Pokemon Go? I don't think so, no.
Yeah, so like something like that, they're going to wait a long time. Then they'll shiny unlock it, and then people will try to rush to get the shiny. Probably with a raid, like when they make it easy to get in raids or something. That's where the shiny will come in. And then after that, that's when you'll get, after a while after that, when it's no longer novel, they'll get, oh, here's the community today where all you scrubs who didn't grind to get one to get a shiny, and that's when I'm going to turn on the game and be like, haha, I got 5 Larvestas, and I didn't spend a single raid pass to do it.
Yeah. They can also, I think there is a pace that they can go at that is slow enough that it keeps pace with when new generations are being released.
For sure.
Like, if that's the case, then that means it can go on as long as Pokemon is still churning out generations.
Well, we just had Scarlet and Violet this year, and we're probably, I would say we're probably, 2 years from seeing Scarlet and Violet in Pogo proper? At least, at least, and when we do, it's just going to be like the starter, like a couple of the starters, and like a handful of like the early route Pokemon, just like it always is. And then there'll be like, I don't know, the big marquee Scarlet and Violet raid Pokemon, so that people will go to raids, like stuff like that. Your Zamazentas, your Zacians, that sort of thing.
Do you remember back in the day when they used to just dump a whole generation at once?
I do, and I actually miss it. It was like around Halloween time, usually it felt like. And it was just like, oh, new gen's coming out. Time to wake
here's
up.
100 new Pokemon in the game.
Exciting is what it was.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I think since like Unova, maybe? I can't remember.
I think even as early as Sinnoh, they were starting to I think so I think Gen 2 was released all at once, and then I think I'm not sure about Gen 3. I think there was this time where they would release like a third of the generation, and then another third, and then another third, or something like that. And then they started just drip feeding here and there. Like, here's one Pokemon from Gen 5.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, I do remember when they were like, just boom, 100 new Pokemon. Have at it. Good luck. Legendaries will be in raids in a month.
Yep.
Do you remember when your daily research could net you a legendary?
Oh yeah, and then
The good old days.
I heard so many people complaining about that. They thought like it was boring to get another Zapdos. But nowadays people are clamoring for a legendary again.
I know. Like, what is it even now? I don't even remember. I haven't been paying attention.
You can get yourself a remote raid pass.
Oh boy. That's worth like 50. That's like $50, right? That's like fast pass to Disneyland.
You can sell that and get a deposit on your house.
I've been really I mean, don't narc on me or anything, but I've been taking my remote raid passes and dealing them on the street.
Oh shit.
Like chopping them up. Like, of course I cut, I got to lower the quality, stretch my product out, so I cut it a little bit with a regular pass. That way, one remote raid pass gets split like several different ways, but I'm making killer profit on it. And always don't forget the first hit is always free.
That's a good business model.
I think so.
I've partnered up with a science teacher who like really knows the business, and he's
Oh
been
yeah,
cooking up like a brand new version of remote raid passes, which is like it's like tight, you know.
like I'd probably call it something fancy like Blue Crystal Pass or something like that.
The Blue Crystal Pass. That's
The
exactly
Blue
what we
Crystal.
called it.
Oh
Have
wow,
you been listening in on our
no, I'm
meetings?
not a cop, Fish. I am not a cop. I swear. You got to tell me if you're a cop.
Uh, that's actually a myth. I'm not allowed to say that I'm not a cop, but
Wait, you're
I
absolutely
don't.
allowed to say that you're not a cop.
No,
If you're not a
that's the
cop,
thing. Like, but because that's specifically lying. Whereas if I just dodge the question, if you ask me if I'm a cop and I just dodge the question, that's fine.
It's only specifically lying if you're a
Yeah.
cop and you need to lie about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm not allowed to do.
The name of this episode is Fish is a Cop.
Yes.
Interpol. In latest news, Brett's been arrested for crimes against podcasts everywhere. People want him to stop, and they've been telling him forever.
Nobody's been telling Brett to stop. By the way, everyone wants more Brett podcasts.
I don't know, man. You ever wonder like where we're gonna be in 6 years when Pogo's done releasing Pokemon with this podcast? I don't know. I'm like, how does one retire from this podcasting life? And the answer is I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, you've got non-Pogo related podcasts.
That's true too. And I do love podcasting. I don't intend to stop anytime soon. So in one capacity or another, I'm gonna keep going. What was I getting ready to do?
Just start a Peridot podcast.
A what?
A Peridot? Oh, Perido? What's it called? It's the other Niantic.
The other
like
Niantic
the most
game.
recent one.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll do a Monster Hunter one too.
Yeah.
Well, why not? I forgot about Perido. I forgot that was even coming. Is that out yet?
I think so.
Are they using Australia as a testing ground again?
I don't know. All I know is that it exists.
They like the guinea pig y'all a lot. It's because of the weird. I think it's because of the weird time vortex that y'all exist in, where you're like in the future.
Yeah. We're not the most. What's the word for it? We're not like the earliest time zone. There are some countries that, like New Zealand, has it even worse than us. Like New Zealand's 3 hours ahead. Yeah, the Kiwis.
Some days when I wake up in my bones creak, I just have a shot of coffee and then ball my fists up and shake them at Kiwis everywhere. New Zealand.
That's actually what our Prime Minister does in his weekly addresses. He comes on our primetime television and just lists the things that he hates about New Zealand.
What? That sounds insane. So it's like New Zealand. I knew that Australians and New Zealand's had some kind of like big brother, little brother relationship sort of thing going on, but I don't know the extent of it. Are they like, by and large, Australians are genuinely like rolling their eyes? New Zealand, of course.
In all seriousness, like we do make fun of New Zealand a lot, like the big brother, little brother kind of relationship, but they also have their shit together way more than Australia does.
Oh, so it's like America and Canada. We give Canada tons of shit, and then Canada's like, we got free healthcare, like whatever. And then we're like, oh yeah, but if it's free, it's a real burden to tax. Jumping through all those hoops, like trying to make it sound like our healthcare system's good at all, which is hilarious.
And then we just go ahead and like just lay claim to a whole bunch of stuff that comes out, like Crowded House. Like they're from New Zealand. Oh, you don't know who? Oh, they're a band.
Oh, okay.
They're very, very popular. Russell Crowe.
I know who Russell Crowe is.
Yes, New Zealand. But we just like to pretend he's from Australia.
Margaret Robbie? She Australian?
I hope so.
I think so. I could be wrong. Why is it that every like Australian or British actor can pull off American like it's nothing, and then the other way around, it always sounds terrible and offensive? You know, like
Wait, you telling me Robert Downey Jr.'s Tropic Thunder accent was bad?
I mean, I love that movie personally, but I'm trying to think. Oh, I mean, perfect example when Ed Sheeran is on the show and he's like this weird Irish British that kind of mutates into Australian because he can't keep his accents in check. That's a perfect example. It's probably borderline
example, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that that's an impression so much as that's just a person from an indiscriminate location. Not like I don't do that voice. Certainly, I would never.
No. Yeah, I would. You would never.
I would certainly never do it in front of you. That would be just massively embarrassing. You know, I pretended to be Australian once.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so I went to a convention, and me and my friends were just drinking at the bar, and I used to listen to a podcast that I will not name. It was my favorite podcast for a while. It later turned out that they were terrible people, like transphobes and all kinds of stuff. So
wow, okay,
don't listen to them anymore, and I won't talk about them. But I listened to them so much. I love their show that I was able to pull off a pretty good Australian accent for a while. And it's one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it. So like I was like killing it. And, like, I mean, these girls were like, "Are you really from Australia?"
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I was, talking a big game. I'm like about, being from the only Australian city that I could think of, Sydney. And they're like, "What about the spiders?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's just an American thing. You think all of our spiders are huge? Yeah, there's some big ones, but you don't just see them everywhere all the time. It's just a normal city." And yeah.
Wouldn't the better answer have been like, "Oh yeah, you get used to them." Like,
I don't know.
Like, because I'm a real tough guy,
No, I was trying to make it seem like it was no big deal. It's just an everyday occurrence for me because I'm clearly from Australia. Want to make out? I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that.
No,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
It sounds like it worked.
Well, I mean, it worked with getting attention, but that was not my intention. These are girls that overheard me doing the accent to my friends and then getting caught in a lie and trying to maintain the facade for so long. Yeah. But hey, we're going to hop into a time warp and take a break. When we get back, we are going to talk about the Pokemon of the episode as decided by our patrons. Speaking of which, I should probably say their names. I think I've kind of been a bad Bret and I forgot every so often. I always thank our patrons, but sometimes I forget to read their names. Stephie L, Steve S, Ken P, Skillet, and mine. So thank you all so much for being Patreon members. Your contributions help us so much. We are about to do a Spotify ad campaign because ballin'. I think that's going to be for Let's Die, his versus hers guide to the apocalypse. So thanks to contributions from our patrons members, we're able to do stuff like that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and we'll be right back on the other end of this break. The chick is jacked. This episode is brought to you by Buzzswole. Get swole, son. Are you feeling like a wimpy wimp? Are you feeling like a fat Tyranitar? Or a fat Scyther, I should say? Well, no more. Get your pump on and get swole with Buzzswole. Get swole. That's right. You take this specially formulated powder fish is what it is. It's a fish powder. And you pour it into your water or drink of choice. You drink it, and then our specialized formula of goat extract and horse substance unlocks the hidden potential. I wanted to say, I almost said something else that would have been just horrible, but unlocks.
Did we find a line that you're not willing to cross?
Yeah, semen. Unlocks your hidden potential. The forces the blood like a kick to the chest as it rushes through your heart and pumps through all your muscles. You'll feel like you're, oh my god, that jeez. People who are watching on Spotify and YouTube are loving it. You'll be able to squat them booty cheeks out so bad you'll blast them through your pants. What the?
That flat top is amazing.
Wow. We just, you know what? Fuck the ad. We can just watch this.
Yeah, we'll just watch these jacked people. You would have time for nothing else in your life.
Yeah. Look at her pecs. Like,
yeah. Each one of her biceps is bigger than my head.
she could like, yeah, she could crush your head with those biceps.
And that's completely ignoring the guy behind it.
Yeah.
That's a buzzwell.
That's a buzzwell. With
Yeah,
the mullet,
that's a buzzwell right
the
there.
permed mullet. If you
look
drink
at that.
Buzz Swole, get swole, you'll get a perm. Just right out the gate. And then it'll slowly
kill your
morph
hair.
into a mullet, and then it'll morph into a ponytail, and then it'll morph into a flat top. And we
Get some today.
back from our break. What the hell?
Standard fare for after DARKRAI.
It's always something. And that's not even the first time we saw that video on this show. And yet, just as surprised now as I ever was. Well, it's time we got to spin a not so random Pokemon as decided by our patrons. So let's do that. Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
Yep, I can hear it. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes I fuck this thing up. It's number 921. It's Pawmi, the mouse Pokemon. Pawmi is from Scarlet and Violet, so we got a new boy in our midst, an electric type. It's an adorable little nugget. Fish, I know you're not...
trying to Google it.
I know, I was going to say, I know you're not familiar if it's not in Go, but it's an adorable little... It's the Pikachu of the generation.
Sure. It's how's it spelled?
Pawmi.
That I'm offended by that spelling.
Why? Is that some like Australian curse word?
No, actually, it's probably more the US accent that is angering me. So, because I thought it was Pomm, Y.
Pawmi. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So that is a cute little thing.
It is a cute little chonky thing, and unlike other Pokemon, or excuse me, unlike other Pikachu clones, it's got evolutions. So I think it's the first time a Pikachu from the generation has got evolutions since Pikachu itself.
Since Pikachu itself, yeah.
So I mean that's interesting. Except they gave it 3 for some reason, and they range from okay to bad. So we'll get to it. Pawmi it evolves into Pawmo, starting at level 18, which then itself evolves into Pawmot when leveled up while outside of its Pokeball after walking 1,000 steps using the Let's Go feature. To this day, this is like one of the only Pokemon from the Pokedex in that game that I still do not have, because I absolutely refuse to go through the effort of walking Palmo 1,000 steps using Let's Go. Because Fish, have you played Scarlet or Violet?
Nah.
Okay,
Nah.
so like that feature is like where you like let them out of their Pokeball and then they run alongside you for a while. But
Sure.
if you go too fast, they derez and they go back to their Pokemon, and then you have to then the counters reset for evolution. You got to do it again. So you basically are forced to like slow walk the environment or just do a slow trot, and also you can't run into a wild Pokemon because then you'll go into a battle and then the steps will have to be reset again and you'll have to do it all over again.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
it's a pain.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
I did it for the tumbleweed Pokemon Bramblegast, and I said I am not doing that again. That was such a huge pain. So yeah, that's like the one of the ones I'm gonna have to touch trade eventually if I want to complete the Pokedex. But Pawmi is a small quadrupedal rodent. He's got like a little poof on the in the middle of his head that makes him kind of look like a greaser from like
Yeah, I see that.
1960s Americana. He looks like he's in a doo-wop gang.
And a little bit chunky too. So he's probably like an older like his son is probably in a gang.
Yeah,
But this guy is like he owns
he's
a mechanic. He runs a mechanic.
either that or he's like the guy in his 40s that's still trying to be hip and cool, who's dating
Yes.
your stepmom Alice, and you're like, damn it, Bruce, you'll never be my real dad. Stop trying so hard.
And he's like, "Hey, respect.
He
Respect."
he's got a switchblade, but instead of a knife, it's a comb.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I
Yeah,
thought that
that's
was the coolest thing ever.
it's I don't know. I don't think I've ever been a fan of it. I've always thought like
Hey,
cool little thing, but like owning one is
it,
just like
it's like, hey, you want to get your hair combed, Snick? It has underdeveloped electric sacs on its cheeks. These sacs can produce electricity only if Pawmi rubs them furiously with the pads on its forepaws. The pads
can
of
relate
its
to that.
yeah, the pads. Wait, how do you relate to that exactly, Fish? Do you like rub your cheeks?
Moving on.
The pads of its paws are electricity discharging organs. It fires electricity from its forepaws while standing unsteadily on its hind legs. Yeah, its hind legs are like if you look at some of these other pictures of it standing on its hind legs, they're like little, just tiny, bitty nubs. It barely has back legs.
That's cute.
Pawmi and its evolution Pawmo share their category with Rattata, Raticate, Pikachu, Raichu, Sandshrew, and Sandslash. They're all the mouse Pokemon, although Rattata and Raticate were originally called the rat Pokemon prior to Gen 3.
Is that right?
That's a new
Scandal.
one. I didn't. We did a Rattata episode, and I don't even remember that. Pawmi
Hmm.
and Pawmo are the only Pokemon with this category to not be introduced in Gen 1, and the only ones whose evolutionary line has no Alolan forms. Well, yeah, they came after. Pawmi and Pawmo are the first electric rodents since Pichu to be able to evolve. I forgot about Pichu, so Pikachu does have
Pichu.
3. I'm losing my mind. Pawmi has the lowest space special defense stat of all electric types, and it is tied with Cleffa and Grievard for having the shortest Japanese name of all Pokemon, being spelled with only 2 kana. Now we gotta look up and see what the Japanese name is. Let's see here. Pamo. There you go.
Yep, literally 2 characters.
2 characters.
I am actually starting to teach myself Japanese
Oh wow.
because of worlds.
You know,
So
I used to speak Japanese.
I used to.
Yeah, I learned it in college, and then I forgot it after college.
Yeah, you didn't
You-
use it, so you lost it.
If you don't use it, you lose it. That's 100% correct.
Mhm.
Pawmo is the evolved version of Pawmi, and it is an electric and fighting type. Evolves from Pawmi at level 18. This is the bipedal form, and it's cute But I will say, like, it's just the same thing, only a little bit bigger, and it's always standing on its little nubs. And then
Yeah.
instead of like the cute, fat, chubby paws, they gave it cute, fat, chubby paws, but then they put like these little tiny nub fingers on it that are creepy as heck.
Yeah. Although, I like to think that like the image I'm looking at now makes me think of Iron Man with the little like hand blasters.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I could
so
get repulsor rays.
yeah, the repulsor rays. So I'd like to think that Pormo is just
Robert
repulsor
Downey Jr.
raying. Is Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, the
Yes,
hair,
in the Pokemon movie, Pormo will be played by Rob Downey Jr.
of course. When its group is attacked, Palmo is the first to leap into battle, defeating enemies with a fighting technique that utilizes electric shocks. Palmo uses a unique fighting technique in which it uses its forepaws to strike foes and zap them with electricity from its paw pads simultaneously. There's a picture of it where it's like holding its cheeks with its little tiny fingers, and it's just
Yeah, I see that.
it's creepy. Like
That is creepy.
why did they give him like 5 of them too? Like they gave him 5 fingers. Like I don't know. There's something about it's just a little too. I don't know. It looks like a
Uncanny
person.
Valley.
Yeah, it looks like one of the. You know what? This is the perfect like example of something that could be turned into one of those inflatable costumes, like the T Rexes. Because like you could just use your normal human fingers in the costume.
Right. So I don't know. They're not quite enough like human fingers. They're too like stubby and pointy.
They're gross.
Yeah.
Let's see. All the trivia is basically the same as it was for Palmy. Except Palmo is the shortest fighting Pokemon. Now I gotta go look up and see how big he is. This is a prime example. Fish, you don't know this, but in Scarlet and Violet, like it feels like 75% of that Pokédex, the Pokemon are like minuscule, like absolutely tiny, so that when you're driving around in the overworld, you'll just bump into Pokemon you didn't even see were there because they're so god awful tiny. It's misery. It's how tiny some of these guys are. It says that they're 1 foot 4 inch. So yeah, I guess that would be
Yeah, that was Pormo or
that was Palmo.
yeah.
What's the name of Tyrogue? I want to see how tall a Tyrogue is. Tyrogue is 2 foot 4. So there you go.
So now Tyrogue finally gets to make fun of someone.
I guess so. I don't think it has any room to make fun of anybody. Have you seen a Tyrogue lately? They look horrible. They look like they wish they were a real boy.
They look malnourished.
They look something. Pawmo evolves into Pawmot after walking 1,000 steps using the Let's Go feature. It is literally the exact same thing. It's just got more hair poof. It's got a little bit more poof around the collar. That's it. And it stands up, I don't know, straighter, and it's 1 foot larger at 2 foot 11, or like 1.5 feet more.
So this is a relatively boring and creepy Pokemon, is what we are getting at here.
I'm not a fan, honestly.
Yeah.
My mom likes it.
I mean, I trust her opinion.
I don't know. I mean, she's my mom, and I don't know if I trust her opinion. If you look at like the Paldea Pokédex picture of Pawmot, like it's doing the Iron Man thing where it's like holding its hands out like this, like repulsor rays. And it's got like blue showing up in the middle of its palms, so
yeah,
maybe you're onto something with the Iron Man reference. I feel like they should have put one like a dot in its chest if they were going to go that route, though.
Yeah, you're right.
This Pokemon normally is slow to react, but once it enters battle, it will strike down its enemies with lightning-fast movements. Pawmot's flurry fur acts. God damn it! Pawmot's fluffy fur acts as a battery. It can store the same amount of electricity as an electric car.
That's a weird reference.
That seems pretty tame as far as Pokemon go, because like it used
Yeah,
to be like, oh, this small electric Pokemon could electrocute an entire city with its
yeah.
power, or could
This punch a hole in the sun, or like,
punch a mountain into orbit. Like
yeah.
having as much electricity as a just an electric car doesn't seem so bad.
Which kind of adds to the kind of general aesthetic of this Pokemon being quite pathetic.
It's something. Palmont seems to be based on a marmot, such as the Alpine marmot, which was reintroduced into the Pyrenees mountain range of Iberia in 1948, long after its extinction in the Pleistocene. Jesus. Palmont's ability to discharge electricity from his paws may be inspired by defibrillators. Both aspects may attribute to its ability to learn Revival Blessing.
I mean, sure, we could go that route, but I think Iron Man's cooler.
And I think I agree with you. Alpine marmots, by the way, just look like. Do you have groundhogs in Australia?
No, but I've heard of him.
Okay, so it looks like a groundhog or like a beaver with with like a normal tail. Imagine a beaver, but instead of the beaver tail, it's just a normal tail. That's what an alpine marmot looks like.
I don't think I would actually be able to tell the difference between this and a beaver.
Well, I mean, the beaver's got the big flappy tail.
Okay, I just assumed that the tails were hidden in all of these pictures.
It's got like a bear tail. Like it's just
Yeah,
it's
here we
just
go.
a nub. It's just a nub. But then like a beaver's got the tail that looks like a cartoon slab of steak.
Yeah, yeah. You are correct.
I wonder what they taste like. Beaver tail. It just is the tail of a beaver. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Wikipedia. Appreciate you.
Question.
Answer.
Do you think, yes, Meryl and Azumarill, I've heard people refer to that as the Gen 2 Pikachu clone. What do you think?
I think that was before that they got it in their heads that they were going to do Pikachu clones every generation. But I think I agree with that. I think it definitely feels like the niche of we need like a small cute mascot character for this gen. And when they revealed those Pokemon as a kid, as like a literal kid at the time, because I'm old, I thought that was like the Pikachu of the generation, 100%.
Yeah,
So.
okay. So you actually had that thought before the idea of a Pikachu clone existed.
Correct. I thought that they're like, oh, this is the new mascot character, like that's going to be on all the products and stuff. I mean, I was wrong, but that's.
I mean, what was the mascot for Gen 2? Meryl was pretty mascotty, wasn't it?
I think Togepi is up there for me, just because Togepi was first shown in the anime when Misty hatched one. So, like for me, it's that, or Ho-Oh, I would say is a very large mascot for Gen 2, because again, the anime showed it really early, and then you had to wait forever and a day to figure out what it was. You just knew it was a big turkey bird somewhere.
Big old bird.
Big old turkey bird.
And it was also the box legendary, the gold version.
Mm-hmm. And then the movie came out, and Lugia and all that stuff. So yeah, probably those three, I would say.
Yep, that's fair.
A lot of the promotional stuff for that movie too showed like Donphan was also like one of the first like new Pokemon we got to see after like Togepi and Ho-Oh and stuff. So like I always think about Donphan as like one of those early like reveal Pokemon, because I remember it being like one of the first like earliest Pokemon I saw for Gen 2. But I don't think anybody else.
There were a bunch of Gen 2 Pokemon that were like shown in the first Pokemon movie. So Donphan was one of them, but then there was also that little short that happened that had like Meryl in it, and Granbull was a Pokemon in there. So yeah, they were.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, right.
So
was it? I don't know if it was played like in theaters, like they do with like the Pixar shorts before a movie, or if it was just like on we had the VHS tape back then.
Yeah, me too. I don't remember about the short. Like, I do remember getting an Ancient Mew card. It's
Oh.
long gone. I don't have it anymore, but very clearly just worth tons of money. Oh, I'm kicking myself so hard that I no longer have one. Under the scaly skin, a beaver tail is made up of spongy fat with a tail of bone running down the middle, and the flavor is very mild with only a hint of fishiness. Just a hint of fishiness, even though it's a mammal. So it seems sketchy to me.
So I would expect no fishiness.
I would expect no fishiness as well. Um, so I guess Pomot tastes like beaver tail, if I had to guess, because it's kind of a fatty boy. Not
With just a hint of fishiness.
just a hint of fish, just a hint of disappointment, which is how I grade all level of fish. Wait, fish? Do you eat fish?
No, actually, I can't stand seafood.
Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah. And folks, that's gonna do it for us here on Pokemon After Darkrai. Fish, thank you so much for being a friend and sacrificing your time and sanity to appear on the show yet again. I don't know why you keep coming back for more pain, but I always appreciate you. Tell the good folks about yourself, where they can find you, where they can follow you to work, what you look like, and what else? What else? What do Australians have instead of social security numbers?
I don't know. So what even is the social security number? I keep on hearing about it, but I have no idea what it does.
I'll give
what
you
you
my
do with it.
full digits after this recording.
Yeah, awesome. That's what this was all leading to, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But like, what do you do with a social security number?
Oh, you want me to tell you now? Okay. Social security. So when you're born in the United States of America, you get a special number assigned just to you. No one else has your number.
From birth.
That's why it's such a big deal to protect that number, because you don't want your identity stolen. And then when you reach retirement age, you're supposed to cash in on social security so that you can retire and have enough money to live off of when you can't work anymore. Of course, it doesn't exactly work all the way it should work. If I retire at retirement age and I need to save up through my job, I can't just live off of Social Security, because Social Security is only going to give me a couple $100 a month.
Okay, so we do have a version of that in Australia. So now we're at the point where you just cut it off when you think we're this is done, this is not good content.
It's all staying in.
It's all staying in. So I think, if I understood correctly, we do have a version of that which we call Super Annuation.
That's an awesome name.
Yeah, I know. Right?
I need your birthday, your mom's maiden name, and your superannuation number.
So when you have a job, unless it's contract work, if you're just an employee of a business, then by law they're required to pay. You've got your salary, and then they're required to pay an extra something what is it now, 10% of that into your superannuation, and then you can access that after you retire after a certain age.
That sounds way more simple than our bullshit of 401ks and stuff that I don't understand. But
there's no number attached to it.
Fish, I don't know why it's called a 401k. It's just it is. It's not literally 401,000. I don't know why it's called that. I could not tell you.
So every American gets $401,000 when they retire?
I wish. I think most Americans wish, but that's not. That's just the name of the retirement fund that you put into with your individual job. Fish, tell the people about you and where to find you and stuff.
So you can find me as a I'm within Bret's 401k plan. You'll find me there if you read into it. If you read into the terms and conditions.
He's my beneficiary, so when I die, he gets whatever money's in there.
Yeah, and vice versa as well.
Oh, thank you.
You get all my superannuation. So okay. Fish on a Heater. I help run a community that is all based around PvP in the game. It's called Pallet Town PvP. We have Twitch, we have YouTube, we have Twitter. We have a 401k.
That you can pay into. Find two friends and pay into this 401k for Pallet Town, and then they find two friends, and then so on and so forth.
Right. It's a PvP Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all called Pallet Town PvP.
Yeah. Links in the description. Yeah. Fish, thank you so much for being here. You can find us at After DARKRAI on Twitter, InstaPodDog on Instagram, and of course, patreon.com/poddog. And always, after...
Sorry, I always forget GoCast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that's the thing that most people know me from, right? Is GoCast.
Yeah.
GoCast podcast.
We know those people. We like those people.
Yeah,
and we
they're
think,
cool people. And
we think they're handsome and pretty. And always, after you superannuate, DARKRAI will come and accentuate.
And put more on your plate.
Thank you so much for bailing me out of that.
So if I talk right now, will people still hear that?
Yeah. Yeah, they will. Yeah. This is the part of the show that's just for like people that don't turn it off immediately, you know, as soon as they hear the outro music. So I wonder how many people, like, as soon as they hear the outro music, turn it off, go to their next podcast or delete the episode or whatever, and don't realize that there's like little extra stuff that we always do after.
You could like find out by just getting people to like reach out to you on Twitter.
I could probably. That's never happened. Well, I was gonna say that's never happened before. That's happened before. No, I think we'd probably have to be like at the beginning of the show. Hey, and you hear the outro music? There's more after the end. It's a secret.
No, that's the thing. You got to keep it a secret. You got to be like, oh, hey, you still here? Reach out to us.
Yeah. Or
give us the super secret password.
Give us the password. I've heard people do the password. Like, thanks for sticking through to the end. When you see us, use the phrase yada yada. Use the phrase yada, the passcode yada yada, so that we know that you listen to the end. What's our password for this episode, Fish? If I talk to people,
I mean, superannuation is an obvious one that my mind goes to.
Superannuation.
People know how to spell annuation.
Dude, I don't even know how. It sounds like a Marvel thing, honestly. I can't wait to go to the theaters and watch that new superannuation movie. Yeah. Into the superannuation verse is the passcode for this movie in theaters now.
Or how about Iron-Pawmi?
I am what? Oh,
Iron-Pawmi. Yeah.
Iron-Pawmi. Okay, yeah. Iron-Pawmi it is.
Right. Reach out to Breaker, tag myself and Breaker, FishOnAHeater _ with the hashtag Iron-Pawmi.
Do it! This show is brought to you by PodDog, the one-stop shop for all your Pokemon After DARKRAI, Jaws breakers, Let's Die, and watchers of the stuff needs. If you liked it, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/PodDog, or visit the link tree in the description for our Discord, Twitch handles, and socials. PodDog Productions. We had to keep track of all this stuff somehow. By the way, you look nice today. Love your outfit. Oh, we have the same shoes. How embarrassing. I don't know who that guy is, but he sounds like a guy I'd like to slap.